Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shamanism, Metaphysics, and Grace. Today, we're going to explore the next 2 weeks of astrological aspects with my favorite astrologer, Jyoti Wind. Jyoti, we're both in different homes that aren't our home today. I wonder if there's any significance to that.
Well, Mars has just moved into Cancer last week, and Cancer is about the home and family, where you live, how you live, and who lives there with you. And we're both kind of semi-displaced.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It just occurred to me that that was true. Well, what do we have in store this coming period?
Well, the good news is that Mercury catches up from its retrograde cycle, its whole cycle of the past 7 weeks, actually, today, and
Okay.
we step into new territory with
So,
Mercury.
Jyoti, with that, will there be some like traction gained and we can get moving?
Yes, it's kind of like we've completed something, and now it's time for what's new.
Ah,
What what else is there than what I've been dealing with for the past 7 weeks, let's say? And I've learned to maybe implement some things that I saw during the retrograde, and today, tomorrow, it's time to step into new ideas, new goals, maybe new ways of new perceptions and new ways of seeing things.
that's interesting. Yeah, I've kind of felt that dropping in for myself in the last couple days, just some new thoughts.
Yes, yes, new ideas. Okay, and then the next thing I want to look at is the lunar full moon eclipse, which
Yes.
is on September 17th at 8:34 p.m., and that's Mountain Daylight Time. And with that full moon eclipse, it is bringing a grand trine in Earth with Sun and Pluto and the planet Uranus. I'll come back to that. It's giving us a cardinal T cross with the North Node and South Node both squaring Mars. And the sun is opposing the moon for a full moon, but the
Mhm.
moon has Neptune to it, right next to it. So it gives it a little bit of a different quality. So those are the things I want to look at when I'm looking at this next eclipse.
So when we're looking at the Neptune quality, that's a little bit mysterious, right? The veil.
Yes, yes. It's kind of like saying there's maybe a lot more sensitivity. So boundaries are really important. Whenever Neptune's afoot, boundaries are really important. And the agreements you're
Mm.
making sure you know where everybody is. I mean, sometimes a person will have something like this natally, and or happening now, and I'll say, even if you have to say out loud, this is what I think we're agreeing to, is
Oh,
this what you think we're agreeing to? So that everybody's on the same page.
okay. Okay. I think that's very good advice. Probably all the time.
Well, probably, but especially when Neptune's around.
Okay.
Um, so there's also empowerment in individual choices. You
Mm.
know, we do things in tandem with other people, having clients or patients or spouses or children. You know, we make decisions a lot of times in tandem with other people. And this is more about um, how you want things to go your way, and the things that you feel drawn to set in motion for yourself. You can take into consideration everybody around you, what they want to see happen, you know, however you do it. But it's really about your own. There's a certain amount of empowerment right now around individual choices because of that grand trine in Earth with Sun and Pluto empowerment, with Uranus. What do you want to change? What do you want to set in motion? How are you hearing that beat of a different drummer?
So, Jyoti, give me an example of that. Like, what would be an individual choice that there would be empowerment around, like where I'm going to live or how I'm going to do that?
Sure. Or I'm going to take, in 2 weeks, I'm going to take a week and go visit my family. And maybe you have your family of origin, and maybe you have a family that you've created, and you're just saying, I feel like I need to and I want to do this. Okay. Or if you're part of a consortium of some kind, I'm going to begin this project. I'm going to
Mm,
start the research and get everybody else is finishing up maybe some loose ends of other things. And you just feel this need to do something a little different, that planet Uranus. I'm hearing that beat of a different drummer, and I think it's time for me to begin to look at what's possible here.
okay. Okay. And
Okay.
so the energy is there for us to see those opportunities for individual choice
Yes, and
and to
and
do that.
and sometimes choices that hadn't been on the table before.
Ah, okay.
And there's an ease and flow. It's a grand trine in earth. You know what it takes to live on the earth. You need a roof, you need food, a job or energy exchange of some kind. And so that's what it takes. And a full moon in grand trine in earth knows how to do that, knows how to set things in motion
Hmm.
and cover those bases.
Hmm. Okay.
The other piece of this is that the node squaring Mars, Mars in Cancer is about food security, among other things. It's about food security. So, how are you paying attention to your own, maybe neighbors, maybe friends? How are you noticing? Maybe you volunteer at the local food bank. How's the local food bank doing? And just it's kind of like asking us to just pay attention to food security.
More gardening.
For those in that season, yes, yes, more gardening, yes. Some of us are moving out of that season. So, yeah, yeah. So, there's a real sense of ease and flow and empowerment here, along with just noticing certain things that might need your attention.
Hmm.
Okay. So the next one I'd like to look at is the fall equinox on September 22nd at 6:44 Mountain Daylight Time, 6:44 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And this is the chart for the next quarter, because we're looking at, the equinox, and that's the beginning of this next quarter of the year for us. It also has a grand trine, but it's air earth, because I didn't make a note to myself why. Oh, because the sun is at 0 Libra. On the fall equinox, the sun is at 0 Libra. As the sun enters the Libra at 0 degrees, 00, that is the beginning of the fall season. And so there's this air earth grand trine where, like an extension of the full moon eclipse, we are still very practical with Uranus and the moon in, well, Uranus is in Taurus. Pluto is still at the end of Capricorn, but the moon that is very close to the planet Uranus has just entered Gemini, and the sun is in Libra. So it's air earth. How do we communicate in a practical way? What do we have to share? What do we have to say that is our way of expressing our sense of empowerment, what we know, we're sharing with other people, a lot of language and communication skills. And we're also hearing that beat of a different drummer, and Wanting to do things a little bit differently. Yeah, so it's mental air communication along with practical earth application.
Hmm, nice. Jyoti, I want to go back to the full moon eclipse, if you don't mind for a minute.
Sure.
Because I know an eclipse usually sets in motion things that will happen over the next 3 to 6 months. And I don't, and so the points you talked about were things that we might see over this period.
Yes, because we're in eclipse season. We have one this month and one early next month,
Mm,
and then no more until the spring. And so, yes, it does set these things in motion for the following 3 to 6 months.
okay. Okay. So,
So people might not respond immediately or feel like, what was that about? I don't feel that. But over the next 3 to 6 months, that might come up. Those things might come up
okay.
where I
Trickle in.
need to make some individual choices, maybe not a group endeavor.
Okay.
Okay, and so for the fall equinox, that also has a range of 3 months because it's about the beginning of this next quarter. And then at the winter solstice, we'll begin the final astrological quarter of the year.
Okay, that was really important, I think, to define because these aren't little aspects that we're talking about that are just a few days. These have a broader reach over time.
Absolutely. And in the middle of this, like I talked about the nodes squaring Mars. I mean, yes, in that lunar full moon eclipse, yes, we might be looking at food security over the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months. When I'm looking at this fall equinox, there's a couple aspects in here I'm going to mention that are really well, they are for the quarter. It is I was thinking, it's more for for the moments around the fall equinox, which is true, but it is the chart for the next quarter. So yes, it will extend into that time frame as well.
Hmm. Do we tend to feel it more intensely as it begins, or does it build? Do you have any sense of that?
What I tell people when I'm doing a chart and they have an eclipse in their chart, there's an eclipse that triggers something in their chart. I will usually tell a person, most people don't live close to the bone. They have a lot of distractions going on with job and family and finances and all kinds of things. If you live close to the bone, if you are really listening inside, really noticing, you could respond that day. Most people, it takes 3 to 6 months down the road for, oh, yes, I want to work on this now.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah,
So
for it to penetrate, right?
yes, yes, for it to penetrate the consciousness. That's a
Yeah,
great word. Penetrate. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So the person goes, yes, I want to work on this now. This is what's up for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so by the same token, this chart for the quarter, this next quarter of the year, that may hold true too. It might not be the day of the fall equinox where you have this, oh, I want to do this or I want to set this in motion. It might be, a couple weeks later that you think, all right, this is what this time of year is, it's time for me, or this is what I'm looking at. I didn't realize I had been thinking about this already, but this is what I want to look at.
Yeah.
And so part of that is that air earth grand trine, ideas, expressing more feelings, feeling more empowered, feeling like you are hearing something different perhaps, and it's getting your attention a little bit. What is that? What do I want to really be doing? Because we all have this feeling of being on hold,
Yeah.
in some way. And I think about it and I think about what in the heavens is doing this. What is creating this kind of lackadaisical kind of oh, I want to get to things, but I just can't seem to make myself, you know? And I think it's the Saturn in Pisces. And I meant to look to see when Saturn leaves Pisces, because I think it's kind of like walking through sludge.
Yeah. I think a lot of folks could identify with that.
I really do. I think it's going to break in the spring from May through the 1st of September. So all next summer we might be, yes, let's get going. Let's get this show on the road, you know, but then it's going to go back into Pisces, and it won't go back into Aries until February of 26.
Well, wait a minute, Jody. This feeling of sludge, this Saturn and Pisces continues until next May.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I think this is
Sat-
going to take some getting used to.
Well, Saturn is usually in a sign 2+ years,
Yeah.
2 years plus a couple months. For some reason, I'm sure there's a astronomical and probably astrological reason, but it's in Pisces for 3 years.
Sure.
And so this has been going on. We'll get a break from May to September of next year when Saturn moves into Aries, and we'll begin to feel where we're going and what we want to begin to set in motion and get started on. And then it'll retrograde back into Pisces until February of 26. And then after that, all bets are off.
Sure. Sure. Because
The
something
Saturn will be
unfolds.
in
Yeah.
Aries, Neptune will be in Aries, the planet Uranus will be in Gemini, Pluto will already be in Aquarius. We're moving from this dense earth, water energy that we've been in for years, moving into fire and air, and it's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this before we started recording, but it's almost like I can, and you admitted the same too, observe myself in this mode. And it's not a mode I'm used to being in, just kind of, you know, and I question, like, who is that behaving this way, right? Where I'm
Yeah.
usually, on it like this, and I know you are
Yes.
too, but that isn't, I
No.
can't even access that person right now.
And I think there's a beauty in it. I
Yeah.
know it's frustrating, but I think there's a beauty in it because that drive that a lot of times moves us, and we have schedules and we have
Mhm.
agendas and
Mhm.
we have all these things, and a certain way of dealing with life, whether it's organized or driven, or whether it's just putting one foot in front of the other. I think some of that is dissolving, and we're learning new ways of doing things. And I'm telling myself this as I'm telling
Yeah,
everybody
this is
else
great. I'm
this.
hearing
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
but you're doing it so eloquently and graciously, because that's what it really is about being compassionate with ourselves while we're seeing that.
Yes, and being compassionate with other people's process as well. But knowing, we're right in there with everybody else.
Sure,
This is just,
sure.
and it's frustrating. I mean, the level of frustration is high
Yeah.
because we don't know where we're going. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know if it's going to be something we really want to be doing. We don't have many clues at the moment. And so it's hard to sit with not knowing because you can't set something in motion. You can't prepare. I mean, the most preparation you can do, I think, is just letting go of what's been that's not working.
Yeah, but something just came in while you were talking, because I think when we're really busy and we're doing all the things, we don't know we don't know. Like, right? But what's different right now is I know I don't know, and yet and so I can feel it differently. I embody it, that not knowingness.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I
and
mean,
and this scheduling and this, being on top of things and planning things 3 or 6 months out that we have been forced to live in this fast moving world is just, this just isn't working for us anymore.
No, and I think back to, Pam Gregory on YouTube talking about being in the photon belt. Well, I knew about the photon belt that was coming, that period of time, years and years ago, but I didn't know it would feel in a way so ordinary. I thought it would be something like, wow, everybody's filled with light and,
Sure.
it's stark and bright and this is it. And it isn't. It's just, day to day life. That's what it feels like. However, there's a few little shifts that occur, like the not knowing and not being able to push oneself or have that sense of knowing, what is next, like sequential order. Um, because sometimes things come in out of sequence and then it's like, no, I don't want to go there. I want to look at what's over here for a few minutes.
Yeah, I think this is really important for other folks to hear right now, that this, for lack of a better word, this unordinary feeling that we're all experiencing it, right? Which
Yeah.
increases the level of anxiety collectively. Um, but because I haven't been on a meeting or in a gathering in weeks where everyone isn't feeling, they will comment on, well, I'm not really prepared. Nobody, we've never been prepared, right? But now we know we're really not prepared.
Yeah, it's also like eh, people have a certain expectation, I think, of perfection.
Yeah.
Things going to work out right, and they do. But this, I tell people, if you're looking for perfection, just look around. This is not the plane of perfection. There is nothing perfect on the earth plane. I mean, trees grow how they want to grow and how the light is accessible to them. And, people do change their mind and all of a sudden they're moving out of town and they were your best friend. And it's like, wait a minute, you
Yeah.
know, things change and we're in that cycle of change with the planet Uranus and Pluto and Neptune and all these, and Saturn with the sludge. Yes.
Yeah. We can
So
take it.
pardon?
I was just going to say we can take it all with a dose of sludge right now.
Yeah, yes, yes. So I want to go back to the fall equinox.
Yeah.
I want to mention that Venus is squaring Pluto. And so Venus squaring Pluto, it gives a certain sense of empowerment, but it says no manipulation.
Mm.
Use your power with dispassion. Okay? Don't try to work it. Just let it be. The power resides with you whether you decide, I want to step into this and participate, or I don't. This works for me or this doesn't work for me. Not getting in there trying to make it work for you or make it try to be something that maybe it's not, or maybe it doesn't even have your name on it.
Mm. Mm.
And then Mercury is trining the planet Uranus, so intuition is high.
Okay.
Speaking, writing, networking, sharing ideas, flashing on things, not the logical reasoning mind, but that intuitive mind that knows, just knows. Looks at something and just says, okay, I know what to do, or I know what the situation calls for.
Okay. Hopefully that can cut through that sludgy feeling.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
At least maybe for a little bit.
Yeah. Little lightning bolts. What else is there, Jyoti?
That's pretty much it that I have on the list to look at.
Great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this today. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes. Thank you.